Hi guys, welcome to another video. So in this video I'm going to be talking about something that happened in the past that I apparently blocked out. I was having a conversation with my sister on Facebook and somehow we started talking about the past. I don't remember how it came up. I should have probably looked at how we started talking about this, but basically, I guess this video is going to kind of be talking about like stuff I did when I was having bipolar symptoms and how it affected someone else, which I never knew about or thought about because I don't remember these things happening. When she was telling me about these things, I was just like blown away because I didn't remember anything, and then like the whole rest of the day after our conversation, everything started coming back to me and I started remembering a little bit more, and I just felt like such a bad person. And then I started questioning myself now, like wondering like, am I still like that? Like, am I really like that? Is that how I really am? Or, you know, should I forgive myself because I was clearly having symptoms of bipolar disorder and everything. So yeah, I'll just give you some background. So my sister and I, we were best friends growing up, but in the past like 5 years she's been really distant, and I don't know. I'm probably gonna make this sound more serious, but she has been kind of distant and mean a little bit, and her and her husband kind of like gang up against me sometimes. And I really didn't know like what was going. I didn't know why, and it made me really sad because, you know, sometimes I would think about like, wow, me and my sister were like best friends growing up, and you know, I don't know. Anyways, when I was 22, we lived together, and if you've been watching my videos for a while, you'd know that I started having symptoms when I was about 21 years old. Thus, I was going through bipolar symptoms while we were living together, and I never really thought about what that must have been like for her, or that she even noticed at all that anything was going on. But I guess that's stupid because I was going through these symptoms, obviously. I didn't really think about how it affected her. I don't know why. I was too busy dealing with it, I guess. But we talked about it a few days ago. I think it was like 2 days ago, or yesterday even, I don't know. But yeah, and it makes me really sad that she thought I was like this really bad person, and other people thought I was a bad person, because no one knew that I had bipolar disorder. And that is really why there need to be like public service announcements and stuff, because if myself or my family had known that I was bipolar at that time, it would have saved like years and years of suffering and hardship. And if more people knew like the symptoms of bipolar disorder, it would have been blatantly obvious that that was what was wrong with me, or at least something that was like really wrong with me where I would need help. And more people need to know about that in our society. I'm just going to read you a little bit of our conversation, just here and there, and then talk a little bit about it. So yeah, like I said, I don't remember how we got into this conversation, but she said that I was in denial, that I was dying and hurting everyone around me for made up reasons. And then I was like, what are you talking about? Like, dying and hurting everyone around you? Yeah, I didn't know what she was talking about. And she was like, seriously? And I said, explain, I'm confused. And she said that she like bought me food, which I don't remember, and then I told her like I thought that I bought my own food, and she said, unless you were lying in bed and complaining that you had none, you had to spend all of your money on random packages from who knows where. Then I bought it. So yeah, the random packages from who knows where, obviously that was me doing the reckless spending, which is a classic symptom of bipolar disorder. You just spend your money that you're supposed to be using for rent and bills. You spend your money recklessly on things you don't need. She's talking about random packages from who knows where. She didn't even know like what I was spending my money on. And looking back, I remember I spent it on like ugly clothes, ugly accessories, you know, gross makeup, and, you know, high heel shoes, which I don't even wear, and just a lot of random shit that's just ridiculous, you know, that I didn't need. And she was like, and who paid the bills and the rent? Magic rent fairies? And I said, honestly, can't remember. I'm sure I paid it when I could. And she said, no, you paid nothing. You didn't pay your half of the bills ever, and that's what strained us. As she's referring to her and her son. And that's what makes this even worse. I was living with her and her 1-year-old or 2-year-old son. I can't remember how old he was, but I think he was 1. And so luckily he won't remember any of this about me. But yeah. So she was taking care of him and having to take care of me, essentially, like paying my rent, part of the rent and bills, because I was spending all my money on random packages from who knows where. And I said, I don't remember that. And she told me to ask Mom, because she went crying to her all the time, and my mom would beg her not to change the locks or turn off my electricity, because she'd give me money when she could, and when I ran out of money to take care of both of us, yeah. So anyway, so she was like crying to my mom about this, and yeah, so basically they just thought I was like a shitty person. They didn't know, like, you know, that I was suffering from a mental disorder. And I said, why didn't you talk to me about that? I don't remember any of this going down. And she said, LMAO, I asked all the time and even went to therapy about it. And I said, this doesn't make any sense to me. And she said, I got the feeling that you were so far removed from reality I couldn't reach you. You'd spend weeks in your room and not come out. I'd buy you food and bring it to you and not know whether you were even home or not. So this must have been after the time that I dropped out of school and I was fired from my job because of bipolar symptoms. So yeah, she said I would spend weeks in my room and never come out. Depression. And so yeah, I basically could not take care of myself. And she said I was so far removed from reality that she couldn't reach me, so obviously she knew that I was out of touch with reality. And that's what I said. I said, it sounds like I was out of touch with reality, which is a symptom of bipolar 1 disorder, not bipolar 2 disorder, but bipolar 1 disorder. When you're manic and depressed, obviously, you lose touch with reality. And I said, well, it would seem to me that you should have done something about that and not blame me for a mental condition that was beyond my control. She said, you went crazy because you'd been going crazy for a long time and nobody who could do anything about it did. I had a kid and couldn't take care of you, and Mom and Dad ignored it until you were right under their noses. So yeah, once I moved in with my parents, they saw, you know, and they, you know, and then they were able to intervene, and that's when I was hospitalized after I moved in with my parents, and they actually saw that I was bipolar. And she said that her husband really doesn't like me because he met me then and witnessed all of that. So that is so sad to me because I was going through this, they just thought I was a really bad person, which just really sucks. And yeah, so then I told her that when I went to visit my aunt in Washington when I was 23, I was hallucinating really bad and no one knew about it because it was all in my head. And then she said, no one outside of you saw anything except a spoiled brat who at best had a severe case of clinical narcissism. And the narcissism is from the grandiosity part of bipolar disorder. That's a symptom of bipolar disorder. You have this really high self-esteem to where it would come off as narcissism to the average person. So yeah, your self-esteem can be so high that you can like invest. That's why people like invest in like risky business decisions or whatever, or invest in stuff recklessly because you're all like, oh, I'm gonna be a millionaire, and then at worst you think you're like God or the ruler of the universe. I remember thinking that the whole universe revolved around me, which is narcissistic, but it was just the inflated self-esteem, like clinically inflated self-esteem. It's not like narcissism, it's like clinically inflated self-esteem to where I really out of touch with reality, thought that the universe revolved around me, and everything that happened was the universe conspiring with me. When I was manic, I would think that the universe was conspiring in my favor. When I was psychotic, I would hallucinate, negative things about the universe. When I was psychotic, I would be paranoid, and then I would be having delusions about negative things that were happening to me. Anyway, so I said, yeah, that was the mania part of it. You have a heightened sense of self-esteem and grandiosity. And yeah, I said, it's true that I was already crazy. It just came to a head when I moved home because it was a shock. And then she said, she still doesn't understand that this all stems from bipolar disorder, apparently. She said, I believe you have a lack of empathy that is just mind-boggling. When I would tell you that my baby was starving and that the ice cream I brought you was with all of my money, you tell me that it was the wrong flavor. So this is where I was like, wow, I was such a bad person then, and I'm not actually a bad person. Just lots of things, lots of mental disorders can make you seem like you're a terrible person when you're just having symptoms. If you're depressed, people will be like, oh, what's your problem? And think you're a bad person. When you have bipolar disorder, people are like, oh, what's her problem? She's a bad person. When you, I don't know, lots of mental disorders, they probably, so some people, if they don't understand that you're actually dealing with something serious, think that you're just a shit human being. When really, you're probably a great person who's dealing with some really hard shit psychologically. Yeah, so I thought the universe revolved around me. So when she brought me the ice cream, and it was the wrong flavor, I was so I thought I was the center of the universe. So she should have been bringing me the right flavor of ice cream. Anyway, and I said, honestly, I don't remember any of this. I'm not like that anymore. And I 100% do not remember that, and the whole time I lived with you is a blur, literal blur. When I look back at that time, or when she was talking, it started to come back to me. I was like, wow, I was a terrible person. I don't remember all of it, but yeah, from what she told me, I was like, wow, I was terrible. And she said it took a lot to forgive you, so hopefully she's forgiven me. It seems like she has. And I said, I was wondering why you were so mean to me. And I told my cousin during the cruise, he's the one who took me on the cruise, I told him that you guys would gang up on me, and he said it was because I didn't feed Jack, which is my nephew. And yeah, now if I was living with her, I would be a great, awesome aunt. But then I was not able to do that because I couldn't even take care of myself. So yeah, and I didn't even know what my cousin was talking about, because I didn't know any of this until she told me the other day, 2 days ago. I said, I swear to fucking God, I didn't know most of this. And I said, I remember being depressed, and I said, I'm honestly over here wondering if you're embellishing things, but that would be fucked up if you're being honest, so I'm just going to assume that all of this is true since I don't remember anything, and that I should be able to remember it because it wasn't that long ago. And then I talked about how I was also dealing with that abusive relationship, and she said that she left a lot in the middle of the night with my nephew because we were fighting all night, which I do not remember at all. And I said that she shouldn't be mad at me about it because I was going through hard stuff, and obviously I couldn't control having mental illness. But then yeah, by the end of the conversation, we were just talking about her cat that's going to have kittens, and she said it was a good chat, and it really was, because I feel like we cleared things up because I didn't know about this, and it was very humbling to hear her side of the story, from what she saw, from what went on when I was going through these symptoms, because I never knew about this because I didn't remember any of this since I've been better, and it's a blur to me, but there's nothing I can really do about it now. And I said that she definitely shouldn't be mad at me because it's in the past and I can control what I was going through, and no one knew about it and all this stuff. I didn't really want to make this video. Like, if it was up to me, I would only be making gaming videos because that's fun, and this stuff is like really heavy to talk about and really exhausting to talk about. But I just feel like these are the types of videos that help people because they can relate to it and maybe won't feel as bad about it or understand it better, because I know if I was one of you and I was watching this as someone else, then I would feel a little bit better and kind of understand myself more, because I would be like, wow, like that happens. I mean, that must happen to some of you too. I think some people have told me that, like, when they were manic, they were like ashamed of the things that they did when they were manic, and now I'm like even more ashamed because I realize how it affected someone else. And yeah, I'm just glad that my nephew was too young to like remember any of this, but I'm sure some others of you have, you know, had relationships that are very strained because of things that you did when you were having symptoms. And if you're watching this because a family member or friend has bipolar, maybe you'll understand that your friend or family member, they're not a bad person, I'm not a bad person, they're just struggling psychologically, and it's not something that they can really do anything about. So you shouldn't be mad about them. It was beyond my control. Now that I am on medication, I am actually in control of my thoughts and in control of my life. And if you are actively bipolar and not on medication, you are not, I'm sorry, but you are not in control of yourself. So you should definitely do what you need to do, get on medication, so that you will not be messing up your life and other people's lives. And yeah, so I hate talking about this stuff because it's such a downer, and someone said they were unsubscribing from me because my videos were so depressing. And I'm sorry, but if you came to my channel for like rainbows and sunshine, then you come to the wrong place, unfortunately. So yeah, if you have anything to say about this, then please comment. I hope you guys don't think I'm a bad person. I think I mentioned this in one of my like earlier videos. I was all like, I hope you guys don't hate me now, because this is serious. Like, I was total shit person. I wasn't paying my rent. She was having to support both me and her kid because I couldn't take care of myself, and they didn't even know I had bipolar disorder. I didn't know. So it's just a bad situation. Anyways, I'm gonna stop talking about it. Hopefully you guys totally get the point, and hopefully the next video will be a little bit more positive. I hope you guys have a really, really good day. Thanks for watching. Share my channel if you think it will help someone. And yeah, so I will see you guys in Saturday's video. Have a really, really good day. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you guys later. Okay, bye!